Hello. Today is Sunday, October 11th, and we're looking at Acts chapter 11. Peter uses his dream story to defend this behavior that he's been doing lately by being with the believers that are Gentiles. So he goes back to Jerusalem and he's with them, and they're like, what is this we hear about you eating with Gentiles and being with Gentiles after this Cornelius episode? And he recounts the whole episode to them. So it's basically repeated in here. The animals being lowered down in the dream, and then the statement, what God has made clean, you must not call profane. And then the Cornelius story, complete with the men that came to his house to look for him, the house he was staying in to look for him, and what happened there. And they believed Peter and praised God. They were just converted. It didn't take much convincing, but Peter had a very compelling story, and they believed what Peter said about them receiving the Holy Spirit, and so they can be a part of them now. So that's a really good thing. However, you remember how when they were being persecuted after Stephen was stoned, they were dispersed and they were scattered. And so there are believers in Antioch. And here's a little narrative from Antioch. There is a church forming in Antioch. And the Jerusalem people send Barnabas. He's very faithful and well liked. And so Barnabas is sent to Antioch. He heads over to Tarsus while he's at Antioch. So let me just show you the map in my Bible. This is going to be a little bad filming. Word. See how that works. Now, if you look there, you see that little bay right there? So you have Antioch and Tarsus. So it wasn't that far. Barnabas goes to Tarsus to get Saul. We're still calling him Saul. And he goes to get Saul and brings Saul back to Antioch. And they minister for an entire year there at Antioch. And that is the first place where the people of the way, the followers of Jesus Christ, the believers, as they've been called up to now, are called Christians. And so that is where that begins. See more of my notes here on this day, Antioch, entire year. And then something odd happens, the very last part of the chapter. A prophet named Agabus. Why aren't we naming our kids Agabus? I mean, Agabus. Okay, a prophet named Agabus predicts a famine. And so in his prediction of the famine, what is decided is that they will send aid back to the believers in who are all living in Judea, that the famine will be affected. The famine will affect people living in Judea, and so they believe this prediction, and they decide to send aid. And so there's the very first example of a Christian community seeing a need and then going to it. It reminds me of the United Methodist Committee on Relief. It's the same concept, right? We hold things in common in order that when there is a disaster, we are prepared to offer aid. And that's where it began, in the very beginning. So be proud of yourself if you gave to aid through the United Methodist Committee on Relief, UMCOR, because all of your gift goes directly to the needs of the people. And those of you that give on the Advance Sunday, which is in the spring, that goes to cover all their overhead, and so that every time people give, goes directly to the needs, the direct needs of people experiencing natural disasters. So I'm very proud of that, but here's where it begins its origins in Acts chapter 11. Have a beautiful day.